Page 31, Jingle Bells. Jingle Bells. I can't say it, but there it is. They talk a little bit about it on page 30. You can read all that. I want to talk about Jingle Bells. Before you play, they're at the top, they're above Jingle Bells. They want you to find the melodic fourths and fifths for the right hand and the harmonic fourths and fifths for the left hand. Remember, melodic is one after another. And a fourth, you know what a fourth is, so you got to go through and try and see if you can figure out where the fourths are. Well, to give you a hint, the last measure of the second line in the right hand is a D and a G. That's a fourth. And it's melodic, one after another. That's one of them. For the left hand, the fifths are all over there. It starts out with a C and a G at the same time. That's a harmonic fifth right there. And it's like those are all over the place. There is a harmonic fourth in the last line. You can see the D and the G. That's a harmonic fourth. So you can go through and do that. The idea is you want to be able to recognize them. They will come in handy in times. So you just kind of get used to seeing them now. We have something new though that we're doing here, and that is we're playing both hands at the same time. This is the first time in the book we've done this. You got both notes going on, both staves involved. And you can tell at the same time because they come on the same beat in the measure and they line up. Here at the beginning you have the C and the G and an E in the top staff. They line up. You play them at the same time. That doesn't always work well in music. Sometimes the publishers get it off, but you can always rely on the beat. Those come on beat one of a measure, therefore you play them at the same time, wherever they are. Doesn't matter if they're lining up or not, you do them. And it's just both together, both hands down together, just lowering both hands once. You got three notes going. Well, this adds another level of hardness, complexity to learning a piece of music. So I incorporate that into my approach of learning a piece of music. So let's go through the approach, the procedure, the system, whatever you want to call it. And that is, we look it over. We see it's 4 lines long, got treble and bass clefs. I have to keep saying that because it's not always going to be treble and bass clefs, so that's, you always look at that. I don't say it's grand staff anymore because it's going to be a grand staff. Don't worry about it. Then we have 4/4 time. And I have to say that because it's not always going to be 4/4 time. It can be other things. And we got quarter notes and half notes and whole notes. Okay, I think we can handle all the counting. Nothing tricky about any of that. But we're playing both hands at the same time. Now, when I'm doing that, I do it one hand at a time first to make sure I have each hand working individually. And then I go put the hands together and try them together. And it's usually almost like starting over. But it's still easier to do it that way than to try and do both hands at the same time right at the beginning. That can get really tough. So let's do this one hand at a time first, starting with the right hand. Just here. Just make sure we have the notes and the rhythms here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And you go through the whole thing at your speed and make sure you can play it okay, right hand by itself. No hesitations anywhere. Get rid of them. It's got to be right there on a steady beat on however fast you choose to go. Keep it slow right now. Then we do the same with the left hand. Well, you got C and a G here. That's 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. If you look it over, I mean, the left hand's pretty much all whole notes, except maybe for the last line you get a couple half notes. But just make sure you can play these left hand okay. No hesitations. Everything's fine. Then we put the hands together and hope for the best, sort of. Here, these notes come down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And you go through and you put the hands together. And then you go back through and you get rid of the hesitation so that it's a steady beat. If you're hesitating someplace, then work on that spot and get rid of it. And again, you need to learn to play this piece without looking at the keyboard. You want to feel your way around on the keyboard here. I mean, it's not hard right now because you're not moving around, but still, you need to be able to play this piece without looking at the keyboard. Once you can do that, then we think about the dynamics. They give you one dynamic, and it's in the middle. That's where it belongs. And the dynamic, as I've said before, and we'll say many more times, it applies to the melody. Wherever the melody is, it doesn't matter. It applies to the melody. So this is loud. Whatever you think loud is. Everything else has to be in the background. How much background? Oh, that's up to you. I suggest to start with, because it's kind of hard at first to play one hand louder than the other, but you need to develop that. Go ahead and play one hand really loud and play the other hand really soft. At the same time? Can you do that at the same time? A lot of weight in one hand and the other hand is very light. Just try that, and over time, as you get more control at that, you can tone that down a little bit. So you can play this not quite so loud. This could be a little louder. We just want to make sure we hear the melody. If I play them both the same, this drowns out this. No, we don't want that. Keep this soft. I want to hear that. The melody throughout. That takes practice. It may not come at first. Most people it doesn't. But be patient and just keep at it. It will come eventually. See, a lot of teachers won't even teach this now. They just say, just play it loud. And that's good enough. They leave it at that. But I'm a mean teacher, so I tell you, no. If you're going to do the dynamics, do it right or don't do them at all. And the melody is loud and the other stuff is background. And so we develop that skill. We start working on it now. Then we add the speed. Well, merrily, again, is not a speed. It's a mood. Sometimes they tell you the mood. And from that, you figure out the speed. Merrily is happy. So it's a happy piece. So be happy. That's an order. So however you feel, there's all kinds of recordings of Jingle Bells here. It's got to be accurate. That's more important than speed. It's your speed, or whatever it is. Don't copy me, please. Once you can do all that, okay, now let's check it and make sure you have the right notes and rhythms. So let's play it together slowly. I'm not doing any dynamics, and I'm doing both hands about the same here. Kind of in the middle somewhere. Loudness, as far as loudness goes, yeah. By the way, at the end of the play with me's, I say off. In case you're wondering what that's about. What's off? Well, it has to do with a rhythm, and make sure you hold that last note out the full length it's supposed to. You hold it out until I say off, and that means you're off. You see, one beat ends when another beat begins. So beat 1 ends when beat 2 begins. Well, at the end of the piece, beat 4 ends when beat 1 begins, but there's no beat 1. It's at the end of the piece. So I can't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. There is no 1. We're at the end of the piece. So I say off. 1, 2, 3, 4, off. And off is when beat 4 ends. That's when you lift up. Because if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you lift up on 4, then you've only held it down for 3 counts. You got to hold it down with the full 4 counts. So you hold it all the way down until the beginning of the next measure, which doesn't exist. So I say off. That's what that's about. So I'll give us 4 counts. Let's play it together slowly. 1, 2, ready, go.